Broadcasting to you on WNN 1470 AM and TrentoVision.tv from the world's leading think tank laboratory, buried deep in an undisclosed building in hostile territory where evil and corruption is exposed. You're about to enter the Tom Trento Show.
Trento heads United West, a group that says it defends Western civilization against the onslaught of Islam.
Tom.
Wake up. Hey.
Tired, buddy.
Tired?
It's 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock on, it's Thanksgiving. There is something. Oh, man, hang on.
Was it tryptophan kicking in?
There is something when you eat a lot of turkey.
You don't look so good, man.
When you eat a lot of, excuse me. Excuse me.
You're on air, Tom.
You're on air, Tom.
Oh, you're kidding? You guys are rolling?
Yeah.
Yes, we're rolling.
3 o'clock, buddy.
Excuse me.
Get that out of your system early in the show.
Excuse me.
Get it out. Get it out.
Okay.
Are you done now?
I love the internet. You can find burps and other bodily noises anywhere you want for any holiday, even for Thanksgiving. Hi, everybody. It is Thanksgiving. It is 3 o'clock. And I do take a nap at 3 o'clock every day, usually.
You do.
How's that? I thought you were on air at 3.
Yeah, well, I can do two things at once. And when you eat that turkey, man, that is amazing. So I feel so bad for vegetarians on Thanksgiving. You know, they eat all the other stuff.
Right.
But the main course, oh, God. You ever eat a fried turkey?
Oh, yeah.
A turduncan?
Just a
No,
fried
not a turducken. A fried turkey where you throw in the thing, your house catches on fire.
Yeah. The redneck turkeys.
Yeah. Those are pretty good, actually.
Can you remember a year when someone did not set their house on fire?
I cannot remember
for frying a turkey.
Did your turkey look like this, Tom?
That's a turkunkin, or what is it called?
No, that's the Thanksgivunakkah turkey.
Thanksgivunakkah turkey.
Thanksgivunakkah Hanukkah turkey.
That's right.
Well, yesterday we did our show on Hanukkah. Don't play the song.
Don't we play it?
It's driving me crazy. We did our show on Hanukkah, and we made the point that on WNN 1470, 3 minutes after 3 o'clock on Thanksgiving, that Hanukkah, which is still going on right now, the first day of Hanukkah, and the only day of Thanksgiving overlapped, first time in history, because Thanksgiving wasn't officially determined to be a national holiday until 1863, middle of the Civil War. And that this isn't going to happen again for 8 trillion more years.
It's only 70,000 years.
Well, actually, I think the planets will align again, and in the center of the galaxy of the universe actually shifts before the next time this thing happens. I mean,
our co-host said the other day, because it is literally before these two holidays align, our co-host said the other day, well, in 70,000 years, I think Hanukkah will be here. I'm not so sure about Thanksgiving, which was a good point. Where is our co-host?
she's taking day 2 of Hanukkah. Starting her day 2. She's lighting her second candle right now.
She is. We miss CJ. She will be back on Friday.
I think she was hanging out with this guy.
Oh, no, she won't be back on Friday.
I'm pretty sure she was just hanging out with this guy earlier today.
Yeah,
You
already had that one up. You weren't paying attention.
Oh,
we'll put it
did?
up again.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
Yeah, you did. You were talking.
I saw it on that side.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, there's a little turkey on our TV show. Hey, guys, driving in your automobiles on I-95 or Military Trail or Power Line Road or A1A or Boynton Beach or Orlando or Miami or Deerfield. I can go on forever explaining the depth and breadth of our radio listening audience from North Miami all the way to the edges of Orlando, a couple hundred miles. And from the sea to the shining sea, except there's, from the East Coast, about 30 or 40 miles in, something like that. Big area, covers millions of people, and we want all of you listening and watching. You can listen on WNN 1470, 3 o'clock, Just set your clocks for 3 o'clock to listen. If you can't, we are archived. Tell the folks, Mark, where they can find us in our archives.
Well, you can go to youtube.com/United West and search over all our daily shows. Anything you want to see, you'll have all kinds of little special shows and everything. And also, you can view us on UnitedWest.org, and you see our other shows that we've cut up and put up there for your viewing enjoyment.
Go to the playlist section. If you don't have a lot of time, go to the playlist.
Tell them about that. Tell them what the playlist section is.
The playlist section is a bunch of things that we've done, different subject topics. Like there's a whole section dedicated to Extortion 17. There are quick clips, which are just some clips from the show, anywhere from 2 to 3 minutes, up to 6 or 7 minutes. So if you need your daily dose of Trento and don't have an hour, go to the playlist.
Go there, man. Go there.
And then forward those links along to people who don't know about us. And then they'll be fans.
Do it. Very, very important. And what we do, we are a counterterrorism educational organization. Oh, we thought you were a comedy team. No. We use a little bit of communication, media, variety components to stick in your head a message. You could have somebody droning on and on, NPR. And now we're going to talk about the Iranian nuclear thing. Or you can say, let's kick the ass of the Ayatollah and we'll get over there. You can do that stuff too. Several ways of communicating. Okay.
We make jihad fun.
We make jihad fun. So we have so much overwhelming and complex content that we got to put a little stuff around this to make you go, oh, I like this. I want to do this. There is what? What do you got up, Mark?
I got the website with all the content on it that you can just go scrolling.
Damn, there's a lot of shows.
A lot of shows. I think we have over 600 shows. We got to do
over 600 1-hour shows.
Yep. And so
this ain't our first
turkey go around.
Our turkey go around, turkey shoot. This ain't our first turkey shoot. No.
Right. But
I was just going to tell you a story. I decided not to tell you.
What, about turkey shooting?
The neck of a turkey that I did once.
You broke the neck.
I've heard that story.
Oh, yes, I did.
Oh,
you're going to get hate mail. You're going to get
That's
hate
not
mail
for the air.
Not that we don't have enough hate mail already.
Well, how do you? Well, okay.
Are you a turkophobe?
I'm a turkophobe.
You actually chopped off the neck of a turkey, Tom.
Turkey was I used my hands.
You used your hands. Use your bare hands to snap the neck.
Contributions that you were. Great.
Uh-oh, the vegan donors are going out the window. Yeah, but the meat eaters are going, yeah. Look, the turkey wanted to give itself to a poor family. It had to go from running around my yard to the plate, and it passed through
your hands.
Me. Yes.
Yes. I even got a.
And I love animals, but I love people who need food more than I love animals. So
I can tell you. Well, my dad, who's a hunter.
Where are we going with this?
My dad was a hunter. We used to hunt quail and shoot them, right? And I'll never forget the very first day. He goes, here you go, son. I go, what? He goes, pull the head off. But it's still alive. Pull the head off. And so he goes, here you go. Go, boop. And here's the most disgusting thing he ever did. He took the head and fed it to the dog. He goes, why did you do that? He goes, because I got to get the scent of the bird and stuff like that.
Well, your father was some whack job lunatic who couldn't hold down a job, right?
No, he was 30 years in the military, got out as a colonel, commander of a naval army base, and yeah,
knew a thing or two about surviving.
I think with the way the new military runs, that if they found out about that, he would have been
court-martialed. And on a serious note...
But he's a big conservationist.
On a serious note, one of the studies of EMP, electromagnetic pulse bombs, is that a huge portion of the United States would die if we were hit by an EMP from Iran, which just cut out the electrical circuitry in the United States, because
Xbox.
We don't have the capability to survive in the wilderness and to grow our own food or kill our own food to eat it, and there would be chaos, mass chaos, and those who could survive by growing their own food and slaughtering their own animals would live and maybe withstand this
the
sort of
survivalist business is thriving. It's one of the few parts of our economy that's expanding rapidly.
We go to Publix, or one of the supermarkets and go there and have no idea what a turkey looks like.
Right.
There it is. It's a frozen thing, and you unfreeze it and you eat it. Was it really an
Hold on.
animal?
How many women do you know won't even touch a raw chicken?
Yeah.
All right, hold on. Let me.
I got a chicken story. Well, again, let me hear yours. I'll do my chicken story. Then we gotta do the show.
Hold on. So let me recap.
Thanksgiving.
So let me recap the show so far.
And we do have a script and everything.
So we start out with burping, then went to snapping turkeys' heads, pulling heads off of birds, feeding them to dogs. Then we went down to conservationists, and then to EMP. How we got there, I have no idea.
No, the EMP plays right into it.
And now we're going to where, Tom?
The EMP ties right back into our show. It brings Iran back in.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Well, it does. It brings Iran back. And
into Iran now.
As you know, on this 28th day of November, 2013, the Iranian deal is unraveling, at least in its essence, okay? You got to understand, there was somebody speaking on the radio the other day, fairly well-known talk show host, kept referring to Iranians as Arabs. They're not Arabs.
They're Persians.
They're Persians. And the Persian Empire in the biblical times, and Persians were extremely intelligent, academically inclined, industrious, arts, classics, all of this. And the death knell of the Persian Empire or the Persian culture has been Islam. Islam has suppressed the creativity of culture, of independent thinking and research. Everything's going toward killing other people. Islam is a death-focused system. So in Iran, the Persians, using their great minds, the leadership, are focusing on killing other people. As a result of this, the bizarre agreement that this administration has with Iran is starting to unravel. And we mentioned yesterday, guess who is going to capitulate further because there's a disagreement between Iran and America? The Americans are going to capitulate further to agree to whatever the Iranians want so that political capital won't be lost by Kerry and President Obama. And though we are not really in a war anymore, we're not in a hot war as we were a couple of years ago. We're drawing down on this 28th of November. People are still dying, but it isn't a classic war as we understand warfare. It is a cultural or ideological war. In 1863, the date we're remembering today, 1863, November, there was a hot war going on.
Very hot war.
And sadly, the war was between brothers fighting brothers, and fathers fighting sons, and mothers fighting daughters, between the North and the South here in the United States. It was our horrendous and very sad piece of history, our Civil War. So just as our country faced those unknown days and challenges in 1863, we had a president that addressed it from a perspective of giving thanks. Unlike this president today, and we're going to read to you in a little bit President Abraham Lincoln's proclamation to the United States. And you got to remember, this is in the midst of the Civil War, and he didn't distinguish between Northerners and Southerners. He didn't say, this is for the North because I'm the president of the North. He was the president of the United States, and he addressed all its citizens, even those who were at war with him. That's the mark of an individual who stands on principle. And by application on today's show, we want you to walk away with the beautiful, the luxurious, the powerful history that makes you an American, and to reflect on this day in 1863, and to reflect on the remainder of this day at 15 minutes past 3 o'clock on the 28th, Thanksgiving 2013, the remaining of this day, to reflect as President Lincoln proclaimed. And we'll read that in a little bit. But we are a country in the midst of war activity, and we're moving closer to catastrophic warfare. So if there ever was a day where America should draw together and be thankful, and if there ever was a double down day, we got Thanksgiving, and what else do we have?
Oh, I could play that song again.
Yeah, give me a couple of bars. Because we won't play it for another 70,000 years.
That's right. Once in 70,000 years.
We play Hanukkah song every year.
Yeah, but it has special meaning on Thanksgiving.
Here we go. This is Adam Sandler.
Put on your yarmulke. It's time for Hanukkah. So much
It is Hanukkah today.
It is.
Yeah. It's the first day of Hanukkah. All right. Maybe we'll hear a little bit from Adam Sandler a little bit later. Now, but we have for you, to set the tone of our day, and our big idea. Whenever we do shows, we get together before the show and we say, all right, what's the big idea? What's the main point we want to get across to our listeners on WNN 1470, our viewers at teapartycommunity.com, TrentoVision.tv, theunitedwest.org, visit Bare Naked Islam, visit BizPac Review, visit Watchdog Wire. What's the main point we want to get across? Main point today is that we have a tremendous amount to be thankful for, even in the midst of the Obama disgraces that are occurring in this country. And don't be deceived by the lip service. We know we cannot believe anything this president says. When he speaks very effectively and very lovingly about being thankful and all of that, it's a con, folks. It is not heartfelt. It's a con.
It's not.
This video will give you a bit of an overview on Thanksgiving, and then we'll get into some of the real important issues. Take a look.
To most Americans, the Pilgrims of Plymouth, Massachusetts are the iconic inspiration for today's Thanksgiving feast. After the winter of 1620 killed almost half of their people, the colonists formed a relationship with the neighboring Wampanoag tribe, who taught them about fishing, planting, and hunting. By autumn of 1621, the colonists had collected enough food to feed the community through the coming winter. The Wampanoags joined the colonists for a 3-day feast in honor of their bounty. The feast probably did not include our modern Thanksgiving staple, turkey. More likely, the colonists and Wampanoags dined on roast goose, along with corn, codfish, and lobster. This 1621 harvest meal is now commonly thought of as the first Thanksgiving. Yet for later generations of colonists, New England days of Thanksgiving had little to do with the 1621 harvest festival. Theirs was a religious holiday, descended from Puritan days of fasting, prayer, and giving thanks to God. Every autumn, the governor of each colony would declare days of Thanksgiving for bountiful harvests, victorious battles, or drought-ending rains. In 1777, the Continental Congress decreed that all 13 of America's colonies celebrate a national day of Thanksgiving that year in celebration of their victory over the British at Saratoga. By the mid-19th century, many states celebrated the holiday. However, the date could vary by weeks or even months. A determined magazine editor named Sarah Josepha Hale set about establishing a national Thanksgiving Day. She passionately believed that such a day would help unite a nation headed towards civil war. Hale began a one-woman letter-writing campaign, urging politicians to establish an annual day of Thanksgiving. Her efforts were finally rewarded by Abraham Lincoln, who saw the unifying potential of the holiday. In 1863, 4 months after the victory at Gettysburg, he declared the last Thursday of November to be Thanksgiving Day. By the 20th century, Thanksgiving was a welcome day of leisure from a 6-day work week. In the 1920s, the National Football League was formed. In an effort to boost attendance, the fledgling Detroit Lions devised the concept of a Thanksgiving Day game. Parades also became a Turkey Day tradition, and department stores quickly saw their value as a kickoff to the Christmas shopping season. The Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade began in 1924, and year after year, millions of New Yorkers braved the cold to watch the festivities. Most of all, Thanksgiving is about family. With modern life moving faster than ever, Thanksgiving gives us a day to take a collective breath, reconnect with loved ones, and remember just how much we have to be thankful for.
All right, that was very, very informative. That comes from what's the name of that channel?
History Channel.
What's the name of that channel?
History.
Histoire.
His Tory? You have a Tory?
His story.
You have a
His
story.
story.
That's sexist.
His story.
Trento, you's not only racist, but you sexist too.
Some people believe history is his story. Get it? His. I'm pointing up in the air to the Unitarian Universalist concept of to Allah. Hey, what do you guys do? What do you Muslims do? Or Muslims? How is it pronounced?
Muslims? Is it
Muslims?
What is it?
No, Muslim. You always do right. Today's first day you make fun. I don't know why you make fun.
I'm just
or
trying to
yesterday you
remember
make
this.
fun too.
What do you guys do on Thanksgiving? Do you
kill turkeys?
participate in this American holiday?
We try not to. If we have a lot of American neighbors, then we will make pretend and try to look like we're assimilating. If we are in like a Dearbornistan, say, then we do not care one bit.
You like turkey?
I can take or leave your turkey.
Okay.
Not really. It is a little bit dry and very ugly.
Well, you haven't had my turkey. My turkey's excellent.
I do
Mark's a
not.
good cook.
I
He
do
is.
not trust Mark not to poison me.
No, he wouldn't do that.
I wouldn't poison. It's like the Arab thing,
Abdullah,
you know.
he would not poison.
It's like the Muslim thing when you come. What happens when you invite someone over to your house in Arab?
You must treat them good. You must protect them from any
Well,
harm.
there you go. You know, that's what do you think we do? You know, we're not barbarians. You are the barbarians.
Excuse me.
In fact,
We are the most
hey, it's a
modern.
thankful day.
It's a
Yes,
thankful
why
day.
are you make
Don't
fight?
hate. Don't
Are
hate.
you thankful for Imam Abdullah?
I'm thankful for Imam Abdullah.
Are you really?
Yes, I
I
am.
think he's lying.
Are you thankful for Mark?
I'm very thankful for Mark because if for no Mark, this whole place got a poof.
Well, do you think we hate you, Imam Abdullah?
I do not think you hate because you always say you're a good Christian man and that you do
I
not
say-
hate
That's
the
right.
individual, that you hate the ideology.
Right.
You just hate my ideology. You don't hate me.
That's the reason we treat you with respect and we
Yes,
just,
very
you know.
much so. I cannot complain. For kuffar, for filthy infidel, you treat me very
Okay,
nice.
good. That's
Okay,
good
good.
to know on
That's good.
Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
But understand this. When I see you, somebody enslaved in Islam, and we can debate that another time. When I see
Friday
you,
show.
When I see
Friday show.
getting to that, when I see you walking down the street, I see a human being walking into a gigantic hole that's going to fall down and get hurt. So
This is South Florida, not Central.
just as anybody would see, oh, you're gonna fall in that big hole. I try to warn people, the direction you're going. Well, I believe this is the right direction. Well, I see a big hole and you're gonna fall in and get hurt. So when I look at you as a human, I would be remiss if I didn't say, your belief system sucks, man.
Right.
It really does. It's a failed system.
And I would be
It's gonna
remiss to
go-
Allah if I did not lop your head off for statements
Okay.
like
Okay.
this.
Okay, but we love each other on Thanksgiving.
And
Now,
what
if
you're
you want to get
saying-
to the bottom of this, Gabe,
Well, in what you're saying, same way I look at it this way. If I see someone that's going into the KKK, a white person, if you will, I say, you might not want to go down that direction. Or a German that's wanting to go towards Nazism or fascism.
Sure.
I'd be like, hey. But I don't hate the German people. I said, but when he becomes a Nazi, he becomes an enemy of the state to me. And when they become KKK, they become an enemy of
And-
Can I tell you, there
and
is
even-
nothing like a Muslim Nazi.
Oh, yeah.
You're a
yeah.
good
it's a
friend.
rare commodity.
Your good friend Dr. Boston can tell you all about the Muslim Nazis. Very good people.
People find this hard to understand. And it's a perfect thing to talk about on Thanksgiving because we're
Right.
thankful to be Americans. People find it hard to understand how it's academically and intellectually legitimate and necessary
And honest, yeah.
not to accept all belief systems.
Right.
I mean, that you accept a human being because they're made in God's image.
Right.
But these systems, many of them, most of them are just simply false. Satanism, no one should have any respect for the religion of Satanism.
We agree on something.
Okay. But I could line up religion after religion after religion that ought not be respected. Now, an individual in that religion is respected, your point, Mark, until such time they operationalize the beliefs, because they can believe anything they want. That's fine in America. Once they go, child sacrifice is part of the satanic cult, and they believe that, and we go, you're a little crazy. But now we're going to start sacrificing children. No, sorry.
Right.
That contradicts human nature and everything else. So same thing with Islam. You can believe whatever you want, and fine. But if you go, we got to overthrow the United States of America because Allah told us so, you get in trouble with us.
Yeah, red flag.
Why are we in trouble for that? If Allah says to do...
And then I will blind you with my pink compact. That's what I would do.
And this, it's a simple, if you want to look at it this way, as far as taking it out of the political arena and just look at it as a pure safety measure, if you see someone's going to get in a broken down car and the tires are all worn, and you're saying, guy, this tire, you're going to crash and burn and hit and kill somebody. If you get into this car.
The system you're in is going to drive you to destruction.
Exactly.
Yep, good point.
And that's where we're going. That's what we're trying to explain.
And on this day of Thanksgiving, we're thankful. What I want to do is, that little video kind of gave an overview. Let's just take a minute or two sketching out that overview historically. Then I want to read President Abraham Lincoln's actual proclamation that ought to be read every Thanksgiving. What struck you about the little History Channel, the History Channel's short video on the history of Thanksgiving Day?
Right. It struck me.
Lobsters.
Lobsters. The Indians were eating. Well, Native Americans.
What? I can't eat? You're having lobsters, and I can't eat now. What's that?
They were eating lobsters in the 1600s. I guess.
Actually, you think about it, that's where they were. It's a lobster area.
But who was the first guy that said, grab that crawly hard thing and let's eat it? Who was that guy?
I don't know, but thank you very much.
Yeah.
The guy who was really, really hungry.
He was very hungry, yeah. Okay, let's eat it. Ooh, I should have cooked this thing first.
See that giant water roach?
Exactly. Let's eat it.
Have you ever taken a lot of take a lobster and have it crawl around the floor, and then your wife gets all attached to it, and you have to boil it in the water?
Is that, your wife did that? You're like,
well, she had put it. I put it on the floor. She crawled around all over the floor, and then I said, "Okay, time to eat." Put it in it, and it went. It's like, oh.
Do you remember when Rush Limbaugh, about 10 years ago, was going to donate a big lobster and cook it for a big restaurant, and all the PETA people went crazy because they said it has feeling. And then there were studies on its neurological pain, central nervous system, and it's nonsense.
Yeah, I know.
Lobsters are good eating.
Was PETA around back during the first Thanksgiving, or would they have allowed this to happen?
But we have the Native Americans, Indians, I refer to them as Indians, who were there, and they were their own culture, and the Pilgrims were they're obviously from England, but there was
Arabia.
There was an interest in Arabia.
Yes, the Muslims settled America.
Yes.
At 30 minutes after 3 o'clock, there were no Muslims here in
yes, the very first Americans.
Yes.
Read the Care.
Care says that Muslims were on the
Mayflower,
the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria, and everything else. Yeah.
And the Mayflower too. I forgot about that one.
But you have this very interesting situation where two cultures got together. They maintained their own identity, but they recognized, hey, we have to give thanks for the bounty we have, the sustenance we have. And when you give thanks, I mean, who is the object of this Thanksgiving? This is what's getting lost nowadays.
Allah.
Right on. Allah. But you don't have Thanksgiving in your Allah system.
He's trying to reinvent it. So, like they reinvent.
They want it.
They want it bad because it's like a big holiday. Everybody gets together,
So, folks, our big idea today is give thanks to God. Okay, that's the important thing we want everyone to do. As crazy as the world is, as catastrophic as it could be. Imagine being in 1863 in the center of the Civil War, which, our wars today, a drone strikes somebody, they get blown up. No Americans even have anything to do with any close proximity to that. Whereas in the Civil War, you got 20 people over there and 20 people here, and let's run at each other and fight until we're dead. They had one shot, maybe a couple of shots, and then they're hand-to-hand combat. Those were brutal, brutal wars with limbs lost and people dying and just atrociously horrendous physical confrontations. So imagine all of that, and then the president says, we gotta be thankful. We got to be thankful. What an anomaly.
And transpose that into modern day times, Tom. When we have people that we hear about, they want to arm themselves and go against the government and pick up the guns. You're talking about a civil war.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy.
And it's craziness. It really is. When all we have to do is vote 100 people into office and the whole thing changes.
It really is.
War sounds like so much more fun.
Yeah, on a piece of paper. Well, there's this romance with people who have not been in combat. Many of them. There's this romance with the revolutionary days and the freedom fighters and all. We overthrow President Obama and all of that. It's insane, completely insane, that kind of thinking. And not only is it wrong on a factual level, but on a functional level. As Mark said, all that's needed in this rule of law country is for a few elections to change. I could not in good conscience participate or agree to a revolution until every Christian that I knew of voting age has registered to vote and is participating in voting, and somehow their votes are not being
annulled or something.
Yeah, something like that. But if you want to win, a revolution, get every Christian who's of voting age to vote. Because in Florida, and this is something we're not thankful for, in 2012, 1 million evangelical Christians and probably another million conservative Catholics did not vote. Some were registered, some were not registered. They chose not to vote. And Romney, the Republican, lost to Obama, the Democrat, by 74,000.
Romney, the Mormon, lost.
That's right. So the point is, folks, in the Civil War that was just raging wildly, President Lincoln saw the need to draw the country together. In the same sense, where we have folks that want to go against the government, we need to continually draw the country together. There's no better day than Thanksgivunakkah, or whatever the name of it is.
Thanksgivunakkah.
Thanksgivunakkah.
What's so hot?
Thanksgivunakkah. I like this. This may be my most favorite holiday, because I love the story of the Maccabees. As we said yesterday, the freedom-fighting family defending the temple from Antiochus Epiphanes III, desecrating it with a pig, and then the miracle of God's provision with 1 day of oil lasting for 8 days, combined with the Civil War effort of President Lincoln to bring a country together. Both events, Hanukkah and Thanksgiving, were rooted in the nature of the true God, and both were done properly on principle. So I'm going to miss this day, 70,000 years from today. All right, any other little thoughts from you guys regarding what we've talked about so far before we go into President Lincoln's proclamation?
I'm good.
Just 4th of July is my favorite holiday. Thanksgiving is second.
You just like to blow stuff up.
I like to blow stuff up.
I'm going to ask you both in a little bit for what you're thankful for, okay? And we're going to get teary-eyed around here. And Abdullah, I'll even ask you what you're thankful for, okay?
Very good.
But first, folks, 34 minutes after 3 o'clock on this Thanksgiving Day, and many of you, are eating a later lunch or dinner, and you're watching right now. Some of you are watching a day or two later, but we obviously extend our thanks for all of you who have watched. And if you really want us to be thankful, we got a great way that we can really be thankful.
Oh, yes.
For you, to you. What might that be?
Maybe making sure that we can have a radio show in January?
Yeah, how about that? Get your pen out. While you're in this thankful mood, go to your checkbook, or actually don't even mess with a check. Get your credit card out.
No, just send gold.
Go to theunitedwest.org, top right-hand side of the homepage. It says, somebody needs to send Dr. Kawa a note to watch yesterday's show. At 3 o'clock, and a link to the United West. Go to theunitedwest.org, top right-hand corner, donate securely. Click there, and please help us out. We're thankful for you anyway, even if you can't contribute and donate tax deductibly. But if you could,
really
we'd really like you if you could, because we can stay on the air doing this sort of stuff.
There it is.
There it is. Yeah, that's on. Is that the United West page?
Yeah.
Cool. See, it's green, but there's one at the top too. So we got 2 of them on the page. Top right-hand side. Watch. Scroll down. See right there, the gold one. If you like gold, we got gold. Or if you like green, we got green. You can donate securely.
Is that where the old mouse is going?
In any color you like. All right. What we're going to do right now is do a dramatic reading of President Abraham Lincoln.
Dramatic reading. Stay tuned for dramatic reading of President Lincoln's.
Now we're going NPR on you, okay? On your butt. We're going NPR on your butt.
You'll like this. This is actually really good. You gargling?
I got to gargle a little bit.
Don't burp again. Me. All right. Okay.
Okay, I think I'm ready.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Proclamation. The year. No, we're gonna read from what was the date? October 3rd.
1863.
He's got 2 years to live or so. 2 years for the 2 or 3. A couple of years to live. A couple of years before the war is over. So again, you have to read this in the context of the most horrific event that's faced a young America. And by application and by analogy, we're in very similar days, because the demise of this country can come immediately.
beer.
A proclamation. And we're going to show you some B-roll as we read. And this was a proclamation. The lady for 15 years who was mentioned there, Joseph Hale, she kept writing to all the presidents, hey, we got to have a day of unity, of prayer and thanksgiving to God. And she sent Lincoln a letter, and he just was at the right point at the right time, which shows that writing letters, folks, can be a very effective way of changing policy and touching human beings.
One person changing the world.
One person. She wrote that letter. He then went on and said, all right, I'm going to proclaim a day of national thanksgiving, because up to that point, as the video said, each of the states had their own kind of special time of Thanksgiving. And that's okay, but we are a federated union, and now we have one national day. And here's the proclamation. A proclamation, October 3rd, 1863. The year that is drawing toward its close, 1863, has been filled with the blessings of fruitful fields and healthful skies. To these bounties, which are so constantly enjoyed that we are prone to forget the source from which they came. Isn't that true today? People forget the source of our bounties. Others have been added, which are so extraordinarily a nature that they cannot fail to penetrate and soften even the heart which is habitually insensible to the ever-watchful providence of Almighty God. Now, Abraham Lincoln was an excellent writer, and because there was no Xbox or videos in those days, people learned to write classic English, and sometimes we have to kind of explain it here.
What you talking about, Trento?
But he's saying that the bounty that we have, now understand the contradiction here. The bounty we have as Americans, he's saying, is so great that even people that are very, very smart can't see it. And again, the war was going on. For him to even talk about the bounty in the midst of this horrible war. And then he goes on to say, in the midst of a civil war of unequaled magnitude and severity, which has sometimes seemed to foreign states to invite and to provoke their aggression, peace has been preserved with all nations. Order has been maintained. The laws have been respected and obeyed, and harmony has prevailed everywhere except in the theater of military conflict. What does that mean? He just said something very, very important there. What did he say?
Except for in the theater of military
What he
conflict.
said was that we got a civil war going on in the theater of military conflict. But all the other nations that are involved with us, there's stability and there's peace. So we've got to be, even though we're fighting this war and military conflict, let's look at what we need to be thankful for. Other nations are not warring against us at this time.
Right.
Then he goes on to say, in the midst of a civil war, laws have been respected and obeyed, and harmony has prevailed everywhere except in the theater of military conflict. While that theater, civil war, has been greatly contracted by the advancing armies and navies of the Union, it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Needful diversions of wealth and of strength from the fields of peaceful industry to the national defense have not arrested the plow, the shuttle, or the ship. The axe has enlarged the borders of our settlements, and the mines as well, iron and coal, as of the precious metals, have yielded even more abundantly than heretofore. What's he saying?
We have all these natural resources. We have a lot to be thankful for. I mean, this is a great country. This is a bountiful country. This is a wonderful land of which to live.
And even in the midst of war, the productivity of building and development goes on. Amazing.
What is wrong with you people?
Population has steadily increased. See, he was a man who was leading a war but living for God. That was the
Now, the
key thing.
population steadily increase is actually pretty amazing because it's the single most loss of life than all the other wars combined was the Civil War.
600,000, I
That's
think, were
amazing.
killed.
Yeah.
Population, and again, he knows that this proclamation is going to go to both sides of the army. So he knows the soldiers are going to read this. And the population has steadily increased, notwithstanding the waste that has been made in the camp. That's interesting.
Yeah.
You know, we're killing each other in the camp, but our country is growing. The siege and the battlefield in the country, rejoicing in the consciousness of augmented strength and vigor, is permitted to expect continuance of years with large increase of freedom. He's saying, hey, we're going to make it through this. No human counsel has devised, nor hath any mortal hand worked out these great things. All right, now he makes a segue, a transition in his speech. And he wrote this speech, so he consciously knew what he was doing. He said, we got all this great stuff, and everything's going to be good. But here's the segue, the bridge from his theory to the root of the thankful nature that we ought to have. He says, no human counsel, so no brilliant person said this, has devised, nor any mortal hand. He says, folks, we're talking about the immortal aspect of reality. No mortal hand has worked out these great things. They are, now he makes a didactic statement, a statement of fact. They are the gracious gifts of the Most High God, who, while dealing with us in anger for our sins. And isn't it interesting that he doesn't say for the sins of the South? He says in dealing in anger for our sins, the corporate sins of the North and the South, hath nevertheless remembered mercy. If anybody is in a need today for mercy, understand that even in the midst of the horrendous civil war, God, who was angry at both sides, was merciful to both sides. It seemed, continuing, it seemed to me, to Abraham Lincoln, fit and proper that they should be solemnly, reverently, gratefully acknowledged as with one heart and one voice by the whole American people. That is amazing. Can you imagine being in a vicious battle with the enemy, to say, I'm speaking for our enemy?
It sounds like Obama a little bit,
Yeah.
the way he gets along so good with the opposing political party. Can't you see him delivering a nice speech to the Republicans?
You know, I mean, every sentence, every word here, we can pound Obama into the ground. But we're not going to do that right now. I do, therefore, invite my fellow citizens in every part of the United States, every part of the United States, and also those who are at sea and those who are sojourning in foreign lands, to set apart and observe Thursday, the last Thursday, you get that? The last Thursday of November next, as the day of thanksgiving to our beneficent Father who dwelleth in the heavens. I didn't read that sentence properly. And I didn't read that sentence properly on purpose, because it sounded good. But listen to what was written. I want to set apart and observe the last Thursday of November as a day of thanksgiving to our beneficent Father. I skipped over thanksgiving and praise to our beneficent Father. Not only was this day of thanksgiving, but it was a day of prayer and praise to our beneficent Father who dwells in the heavens. So this was a day to be thankful and to praise God. I mean, he's preaching a sermon which is the doctrine of the United States of America. And then President Obama, I'm going against my own rule I just made. President Obama, do you remember he said, we are not a Christian nation.
No, we're a Muslim nation.
Yeah, we are not a Christian nation. How could you read this by the 16th President of the United States and not see that he thought, oh, maybe Obama knew better than President?
Well,
No,
you
I
know, Obama, after he just found out a few weeks ago, last week, that Lincoln was a Republican,
That's right.
he skipped the Gettysburg Address, and he doesn't give a crap what this guy says anymore.
Okay, so, hey, Lincoln, you got problems here. So he goes on to say, President Lincoln in his proclamation said the last Thursday of the month, which is today, is a day of thanksgiving and praise to our Father, our beneficent Father, our loving Father who dwells in the heavens. And I recommend to them, the President is recommending to Americans, that while offering up the ascriptions justly due to him for such singular deliverances and blessings, they, Americans, do also with humble penitence, to be penitent, to ask for forgiveness, to be penitent for our national perversiveness and disobedience. He puts himself in there. We have been a disobedient nation. Commend to God's tender care all those who have become widows and orphans and mourners and sufferers in the lamentable civil strife in which we are unavoidably engaged, and fervently implore the interposition of the Almighty hand to heal wounds of the nation and to restore it as soon as it may be consistent with the divine purposes to the full enjoyment of peace, harmony, tranquility, and union. What a masterful blend of words to articulate very deeply the situation of the day, to pray properly and effectively, and by application, to set a standard from which
Now, did he write
all
his own stuff?
he wrote all his own stuff, but he always had somebody taking a look at it. But this is his work. This didn't go out. This is what he wanted to say. In testimony whereof I have hereunto set my hand. He answered your question. This is mine, he said, and caused the seal of the United States, because I'm the president, to be affixed. Done at the city of Washington this 3rd day of October in the year of our Lord, 1863, and of the independence of the United States, the 88th. That's interesting how they did that from 1776. The 88th year, by the President, Abraham Lincoln, and put together all of this by William Seward, Secretary of State. We here at the United West, and we're uniting the West as Lincoln was trying to unite America, we recommend that everybody go find this little proclamation and read it as we just read it, explaining what it means to your family, to your friends. Give them a little sense of history and draw some applications. Now, we got some smart guys.
Do they have an
in the room.
interpretation on that?
Yeah, you can go find that. It's probably in Arabic somewhere, too. We have some smart guys in the room. I'm going to ask you guys your thoughts, your feelings on that statement, and then take it a step further. How would you recommend good old Americans learn from this, and how should their lives be changed today? Because we here are in the business of changing lives.
You want to go?
Go ahead.
We have to unite together beyond just the political ideology. Remember that we're Americans first, and that we are political parties second. You know, I've learned that a long time ago. My wife, she's a Democrat. I love her to death. We have to unite around some common goals to fight these enemies that we face today and base them on American exceptionalism and American values. There's nothing, I mean, you look at 88 years between Lincoln's address, between the founding of our Constitution. You know, we were united around, you know, principles that were hard or biblical principles that are Judeo-Christian. And what a great day, Judeo-Christian celebration of this day. And it is the, you know, the epitome of who we are. I mean, it's not going to happen again for another 70,000 years. And this should, there is some sign or some calling here on this, that we need to unite Christians and Jewish people alike around common ideologies, around Western values. And these are not just Judeo-Christian values. These are liberal values too. I mean, we have women who are being stoned, and, you know, gays who are being hung, and, you know, all these atrocities which are abhorrent to my wife, who is a liberal. They should be abhorrent to you too, if you are listening in that context. And if you're a conservative, there's a lot to be just on Western value alone. I'm sorry, I'm taking up too much airtime on this.
No, go ahead.
But, you know, look at these signs that are happening around you all the time. I mean, there's little bitty signs. You know they're happening. You see them all the time.
But Mark, how could, there's people out there listening on the radio. I mean, they're going through struggles like you can't believe. They're losing their houses. Their kids are drug addicts. You know. And it's Thanksgiving.
Imagine the struggles.
And they're fractured. They have a fractured family. They're losing their job. There's no hope. What's your message to them? How could they be thankful?
Well, look at how President Lincoln was thankful during a civil war, when brother is killing brother, when your families are dying in the fields of battle. I mean, we're not at that stage. Please don't let America go down to that stage. Be thankful for what we do have. We still have a nation that's semi-united. It is not at war with each other. It might be giving words, but they're not shooting bullets. We do not want to go down that place. But if things continue down the path that we're going to end up at that civil war. And it's going to be very nasty war. It really is. And be thankful that with Lincoln's message is he was in a civil war. He has a lot to be thankful for.
Well, and I think the takeaway from what Lincoln taught in this proclamation, it's a proclamation. He's proclaiming this.
Right.
He said, even in the midst of all of this, even though God's angry at us, he's merciful. Yeah. So that individual that's driving in the car or alone listening or watching.
That does not sound like Allah.
Well, there was a little problem with Allah and these theories here, these doctrines. You've got to recognize whoever you are in the midst of the mess your life is in, like the Civil War was. God is merciful. This whole thing has to be in the context of God, or we're not talking about the same event that Abraham Lincoln was talking about, okay? It's not Turkey Day. It's a Thanksgiving and Praise Day. God is merciful. You have to be thankful to Him for the provision, and you're in the United States of America. Just turn on the TV and look at any third world rat hole country, and that's enough to be thankful for. Now, what about the people of the third world rat hole countries? Well, from where they stand, they have a lot to be thankful for also. But you have to be thankful, God's merciful, and you got to praise God. You've got to get beyond just saying thank you, but you got to say thank you, and I appreciate what you're doing in my life and how you're sustaining me. If you start thinking in that direction, you will supernaturally be taken out of your doldrums and depressed state. And Lincoln knew that. He preached a sermon in this proclamation. Damon.
Yes.
What's your takeaway, and what is your lesson for our listeners and viewers today?
Well, you kind of hit on it, comparing being thankful for being an American. I think that we have the United States Constitution, and I pray that we continue to have a United States Constitution that's being whittled away on an everyday basis. But we have, guaranteed to us, is the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And as long as you are allowed to pursue happiness, you should be pretty damn thankful. Because most countries around this world, you don't have any right to pursue happiness. In fact, in some cultures, happiness is a sin. So be thankful that you're here in the United States of America for those that are here. And be thankful that you're breathing. And like Tom said, if you don't like it here, turn the TV on, see what it's like in the rat holes around the world. And for those of you foreigners that have come here and don't like it here and don't give thanks to being here, I highly recommend you get the hell out.
America, love it or leave it, right?
Well,
look
also,
at,
he mentioned something very important there, which was we have a right of pursuit of happiness.
Not a guarantee of it.
We don't have a right to be given happiness by the government. We don't have a right to be given it by the government. We don't have a right to have a home. We don't have a right to have this or right to have. It's not a right. It's a right to pursue it.
Right.
That's the idea of what we have. We go ahead.
That sounds racist.
And I think summing that up, all of that, we can't get beyond a couple of key points. Right now, if you turn the television set on or if you Google Syrian civil war, you will see some of the most horrendous acts of destruction and degradation you've ever seen in your life, of young children being slaughtered, of people killing each other. It's a civil war. Well, in many respects, our civil war was no different than that. Well, there was respect for children in our civil war, but people's arms and limbs were blown off and killed, and these are brothers fighting brothers. When you think where we are now with, the Democrats are ahead of the Republicans or whatever, this is nothing. Nothing
It really
like
isn't.
the midst of a civil war, yet Abraham Lincoln called the country together to give thanks. You cannot go through the rest of today, Thanksgiving Day 2013, on WNN 1470 at 58 minutes past the hour. You can't go through the rest of the day without recognizing the need you have to get on your knees, thank God, praise God, and go salute the American flag, because you are most of all blessed by being in this country, regardless of whether you're alone or not. You have an opportunity before you to do as well as you want to do. That's the important message for today.
Or you could make as little money as you'd like we do.
That's right. You can try to save the world and make no money. Join us, So.
But that in itself is one thing as an American you have a choice to do.
Yeah, and we're making that choice. Well, the four of us, three of us, five of us, whatever, we can be captains of industry.
Dum-da-dum.
But we'd prefer to be privates of Western civilization. What time? I'm lost.
We got 2 minutes.
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Oh,
2 minutes
we're going
first.
right to 2 minutes? No.
Yeah, because we.
Yeah, we started on the one.
Okay.
You got your minute back, boss.
I think there's no better way to go out.
Well, I know. I think we have a lot to be thankful for. I know what I want to be thankful for, and I got it queued up.
Okay, because this is a unique day. It ain't happening for 75 gazillion years from now.
Just 70,000.
No, it's gazillion at 70,000.
Okay.
This is Hanukkah. Wait, this is Thanksgiving and Hanukkah.
Thanksgivunakkah.
Thanksgivunakkah.
Chicago. Is he in Chicago?
Yeah, that was for you, Tom.
That was for you.
And you, yeah.
Little Adam Sandler. Here we go.
I really wanted to answer that as a progressive.
It's time for Hanukkah. So much Hanukkah to celebrate.
Good show, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving and happy Hanukkah.
We got another minute.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do.
Hanukkah.
Play the song, man. Let's go out on the song. I'm going to eat some more turkey.
Get one day of present. We get 8 crazy.
Nice.